Hello, welcome back. Another video. I was explaining to Joe here, was talking about how I took Nashville and the Battle of Little Rock and trying to grab Texas, Dallas, but the Confederates, I guess it's their capital, so they've just rushed divisions there. Well, I always see one, but it's fully organized, and so it's not going well. We were looking at the map, and I got to discussing my plans to take this airfield, and this airfield is, I believe, well located because there is like a U.S. I think Air Force base out there in real life, so it's in the right province map. In this particular area, that's I guess it would be called the Trans-Appalachian part of Virginia. It's the westernmost part of this long tail. You can see Virginia highlighted. It's one of the poorest areas in the entire United States, um, especially the area west of the mountains where this air base is. I think the air base was built there because it was so poor to provide jobs, so that to reduce the poverty a little. And I think that was actually something that was done under FDR, if I'm not mistaken, like in 1934 or something, even before the game begins. So the siting of that airbase is actually partly political, but it's still one of the poorest areas in the United States. To the degree that's where remote area medical goes, which I don't know if any of you guys heard of RAM, but they used to originally they would go to like third world countries, to remote parts of third world countries, and they would provide like health clinics. Because there's some very poor areas in Latin Americas where they went, not Africa. So global south, like
Yeah.
rural areas of Ecuador and Peru and Colombia and stuff. Well, I think less Colombia because it's dangerous, but Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, parts of Brazil, like Honduras, Nicaragua, they go to remote areas and provide medical care because there's still some really bad rural poverty in parts of Latin America. But then the guy who ran the program realized there are actually areas in the United States that are actually poorer and have worse, well, not poor, but they have worse health outcomes. They're poor in terms of health coverage than these areas in Latin America. There's actually worse healthcare coverage rates and outcomes. And one of those areas is this western tail of Virginia. It's one of the poorest areas in the country, particularly for the poor. I mean, there's some people who are okay there. I think some of the base people work at the air base, but huge percentage of the population have no medical care. This is partly because all the community hospitals in rural America have been shutting down because of the physician shortage in the United States, which, by the way, is a direct consequence of the policies of Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton, who this was something that Bill Clinton gave away to Gingrich in exchange for Gingrich giving Clinton other things he wanted, which was specifically higher taxes, which then Bush turned around and got rid of anyways. This was so Clinton could get his famous balanced budget. So instead of just raising taxes, I'll give the spending cut, you raise taxes, meet in the middle, bipartisan nonsense. Especially nonsense. Clinton had to know the taxes would just get reversed after he left office. But Clinton was a neoliberal. He was a prick. He was basically a Republican. Um, and like Democrats suck generally, but the Clintons are some of the worst Democrats. Um, so he capped the number of medical residency seats that are funded in the United States in 1994, I think, or six, and this has helped lead to a huge physician shortage. It takes a while because just because you stop training people, you don't instantly get a shortage. It takes a while for people to retire, for the need to grow and faster. Specifically, the number of physicians trained is now growing at 1.5% a year, but it was less in the past. It's because the American Medical Association has finally acknowledged there's an issue and they've started to ramp it up, and we're now growing at 1.5% a year. But in the past, it was all like 0.5% a year, 1%. And the demand for physicians has been growing at 3-4% a year. And so this has led to a worse and worse shortage. And this has led to, and the population is growing at 0.75% a year now, but that's partly because of net immigration. But ever since COVID, it was actually growing faster in the past because there were more immigrants coming to the US. It was growing like 1 to 2% a year at the same rate as the number of physicians, basically, but with an aging population, that's not nearly enough. Anyway, so community hospitals, and particularly the ones in this area around this airbase, have all shut down. I think there's like a Veterans Administration hospital there for the military people. If the airbase is still operational, it may have been shut down for cost-cutting measures recently, actually, which I think made the poverty there even worse. But there was an airbase there for a long time. And so remote area medical
Yeah.
is going to this area that's got not great infrastructure and terrible like healthcare, and they're providing like clinics like once a year, once every 2 years, free healthcare because these people are worse off than some people in rural Bolivia in terms of access to healthcare. And like you see, I there's a video on YouTube you can watch it. Like a lot of them are missing teeth and they don't have eyeglasses when they need it, and they've got like untreated high blood pressure and untreated diabetes. It's bad. And it's that way because, America's for-profit healthcare system, because Virginia has tended to have some pretty conservative state legislators sometimes, and the Virginia government is very elitist and focuses most of the resources in the area around Richmond, Norfolk, and the northern part of the state near DC, which even when it's like Democrats,
Yeah.
and because of the shittiness of bipartisan politics in the U.S. and the shittiness, especially of the Electoral College and the first past the post voting, which is, I guess, the opposite. But I guess the shittiness of either. It's either bipartisanship and the Democrats sell their constituents down the river, or it's fierce competition and it's Electoral College. And Virginia is considered, I guess, safely blue enough that the Democrats just focus on like campaigning in Richmond and just neglect the western part of the state because they don't need to work really hard to win Virginia. Usually, like if they're going to win a presidential election, they're going to win Virginia. And like they focus more, I guess, on like other states, um, other swing states like Michigan, which still campaign more in rural Michigan, but they don't campaign in rural areas enough. Period, because the truth is they don't really want to win. The Democrats, it's not because, it's not just cost effective, because they can get volunteers in rural areas who aren't going to come to the cities to campaign. So they're not going to get that manpower in their campaigns unless they campaign in rural areas. I did some of this myself at one point in my life. So I know these rural areas, they have people who will volunteer and do it for free. It's just a matter of them not giving a shit. They don't want to win because then they would actually have to help their constituents. If they won landslide victories, then they would have no excuse to not do things that would help people, and then they would upset their donors, who are the only people they really serve. Uh, Seeing this, learning about this, learning specifically about the remote area medical stuff in a class that I took where I learned about healthcare inequalities in America, um, reading books about some really terribly poor people in Minneapolis and other areas. Some books. What is it? $2 a day living almost nothing in America. And there was another one I can't remember. It was like about like the one about Minneapolis was specifically about housing inequality. There's If you folks are interested, I'll some point leave in the comments what these ethnographies and books by sociologists were. But I read some of these books, saw this. This started to really shatter my faith in the Democrats and in capitalism. And I started to become a socialist. And then COVID hit because all this happened in like 2019. Then I went back to grad school. Then the pandemic hit. I was very focused on that even before like it became huge because I saw as early as December, I saw the like news reports. I'm like, this is going to be a pandemic. This is going to be enormous. And I was even warning anyone who listened that like keep, keep an eye on this. This is going to be a pandemic. You're going to start making plans because this is going to like kill a lot of people because COVID had all the markers of a pandemic. And I'd actually studied under like a world pandemic health expert at one point in my academic career. So I knew we had specifically discussed coronaviruses as potential source of pandemics. And then I saw the government not do anything. And I'm like, oh my God. And this is what finally, like, why are they not doing anything? It's because of corporate profits. And this is what finally turned me into a socialist. Because I'm like, a system that's going to let 1 million people die and not even try and really do anything because the government response was pathetic. Biden or Trump, it didn't matter. It was under both parties. And we got to see it was under both parties because there was a change of party right during the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, neither party gave a shit. And I'm like, why? And then I started reading theory, and then I finally like watched some leftist YouTube stuff, started reading a little bit of socialist theory, and I'd been toying with it that maybe socialism had something to offer, but I'm like, nah, I'm not going to turn into a dirty commie. I grew up, I was brainwashed very conservative, so it took a while to shatter this, but then I had been, this shattered my belief in capitalism. Then I read stuff, then I realized capitalism is a shitty, flawed system. This is part of why I like to play communist countries. It's a little bit of LARPing. I like the U.S. path because I am to this day a democratic socialist, so I very much prefer socialists via, if possible, electoral means. Although if like the U.S. tries to do that, that's literally the U.S. focus path, and then the Confederacy rises up again, we'll crush those dirty Confederates. So you're not gonna, bow to people who are willing to murder to maintain a system that's vile. In fact, I'm not even going to condemn like socialists when they do revolutions because all evidence shows that it's extremely hard to like replace capitalism by peaceful means. I don't prefer those means. I personally prefer electoral successes, but I'm not gonna I will gladly work with communists, even like revolutionary communists, if there's mutual ground. They might call me a fellow traveler, whatever. I consider myself a Marxist and a democratic socialist. Not all Demsoses are Marxists. I am. That's the main division among democratic socialists. Those who are Marxists and those who are not. But they're all socialists because not all socialists are Marxists. I'm not a Marxist-Leninist, however. Anyways, that's enough about me. Any of watching my political videos or stuff already knew I was a Demsos. Um,
Yeah.
this remote area medical thing, this very poor area, I just wanted to give a shout out to that because those people are erased. But like the media never covers how bad it is there. You can go search RAM, Virginia. You'll find on YouTube, you'll find the video out there. I think I have it favorited and sometimes go back and rewatch it. It's horrible what these people go through. And the fact that this is happening in the United States and is still happening is egregious. And yeah, Joe here, I think I don't know exactly what your political beliefs are. I had some cheeky way of saying something about this, and I missed the opportunity because I'm not as charismatic as I should be. But you may be a socialist, may not. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what you call yourself.
I I consider myself a Marxist.
Yeah.
More
So
more revolutionary. I don't think there's much chance with electoralism working.
I don't either, honestly. I don't think it's gonna work at this point but I think it could have worked before Trump and this whole counter revolution. I think that was the last. Like at this point, things become
Yeah.
pretty hopeless.
I mean, I
Um,
think the fact that even someone as like lukewarm as Bernie stood very little chance
yeah.
in actually getting elected due to,
Oh yeah. I mean, it was never going
all
to
the
happen through like Democratic Party
super
politics.
delegates and shit. Yeah.
Socialists had to go out and form their own party, like the PSL thing that
Mhm.
happened. The Party Socialism Revolution ran a candidate, but then they've done a shitty job of like got some momentum from the 2024 elections. They should have taken that momentum and like built branch offices all around the country, and they're being too complacent. They have to I know they're focused on like local protests and stuff, but it
Yeah.
socialists need to focus on building really big parties that unite like as many of the socialists in the country as possible, or never going to get anywhere. And
Mhm.
it's not going to be that many because America doesn't have that many socialists. But if they can unite enough, they can reach a critical mass where they can start to get media coverage and they can start to put the like mainstream socialist theory, and the media won't be able to ignore them anymore. And that's going to be key because if no one's even hears what you have to say, then you're never going to convince anyone to work with you or side with you or become a
Yeah.
socialist. Um,
Yeah, it has to be less fringe. Otherwise, people are just gonna ignore it.
yeah. And personally, I think I don't know what the heck I think things are doomed in the United States. I've been trying to find a way I can get out at this point because I don't think first of all socialism can happen to be electoral means anymore. I don't think revolution would work either because the military is too powerful. We'll never side with that. And I think that fascists are going to take over in the United States. If not in the next 4 years, in the next 24 years, it's going to happen in my lifetime. And I don't want to be here when there's fascists like police like torturing and abducting people. I don't think there's any stopping at this point. I think America was not going to be able to maintain capitalist liberal democracy. It was either end up socialist or communist. And since socialism is off the table, I think Trump has made that impossible now. I think it's going to end up fascist. Did I say socialist? I misspoke. I think socialist or fascist. What did I say?
Communist, I think.
God, okay, my brain is communist or fascist.
Yeah.
You know, my long COVID, I substitute
see what
words,
you
and
mean.
then when someone says what I actually said, I'm like, sometimes I realize I said the wrong word, sometimes I don't. I'm like, huh, that's not the word I meant to use. Um,
I know what you mean.
yeah. Do I take the extra units or the? Usually, these kind of decisions give you more manpower if you say, and I don't know if the divisions disappear when the war's over. I'll just integrate them in the army and take the extra manpower because I don't know if I keep the divisions, and that will actually give me rifles I can distribute to my under-equipped divisions, which is better than a division that's probably not regulars. Sorry, I had a decision. I got some volunteers in Tennessee. I could either get 2 free divisions. I don't know how big the divisions are or how well trained they are, or I could just get 10,000 manpower and 5,000 rifles, which is enough to equip 50,000 men. So they have 5 times as many rifles as manpower I get that way. I don't know. The divisions probably are like size 6. It'd probably be two. That'd be 6,000 men and probably only 600 rifles. So I think integrating in the army is the obvious choice. Anyways,
Yeah.
I'll pause it if you're good, Joe. I didn't know if you were.
Yeah. All
Yeah, I
good.
know it stepped away for a while. So oh yeah. By the way, keep an eye on your research stuff. Don't miss the after concentrated industry. You'll need to do the infantry equipment too. Oh, just took a
Right.
province. Uh oh, they're really not opposing me. I'm gonna march right into the supply hub and the Confederates are just letting it happen. Okay. Uh oh, it won't even be connected to. Well, I mean, it'll take it away from them and it'll interrupt their supplies, but it won't actually help me directly. Uh hmm. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna leave 1 division behind because stupid AI wants to march 3 divisions and leave nothing, no one to cover the rear, and that's gonna be a problem. So, all right. Uh, pause for a second. I need to do something the moment the day rolls over. There we go. Because I just realized there's a gap in my lines that I set the generals to attack aggressively because sometimes otherwise they usually won't execute their plans at all if they're not set to aggressive, and that's leading to some divisions just not do. But like some are still not doing anything, but some of them are leaving big gaps behind in problematic areas. And like,
Yeah.
okay, that needs to change. These guys are probably gonna join this fight. This is taking too long, so I'll manually tell one. Oh, yeah. If you're wondering how to have a division do a supporting attack, Joe, by the way, you select a division in a province that neighbors a battle, and then you control right-click on the battle bubble, not on the province, but on the
Oh.
battle bubble, and then you'll get a little thing with a sword, and they'll do a supporting attack instead of marching in.
Yeah.
So, I just did that in one place.
That way they won't move into the province after the end of the battle.
Correct.
Good to know.
Yeah, I just ordered a supporting attack some more. I want them to help in the fight, but I don't want them to actually move after when the province is taken. So, yep. Ha! Hmm. Well, unsurprisingly, the battles are actually going pretty well my way because the AI is not good at fighting. Well, at anything really. Hold on, I'm looking at maybe sending some bombers. away. Maybe after this fight's over. It might actually manage to take Dallas. Maybe. Maybe. Oh, you were wondering before, Joe, if the Confederacy goes fascist? They do, but they get a
Yep.
series of decisions, and they actually flip fascist via decision when the
Okay.
U.S. is the one that's the like original tag, like and it's under
Yeah.
AI control, or if the they're both under AI control, both sides are, and the original tag was the U.S. one. They get decisions, and those decisions will get them to 30% fascist support, and then once they get to 35%, they can flip via decision, which means either they must get an event or they must have to assign a demagogue to get to that 35%, or they don't do it till after the war. When if they win, they would get the fascist focus tree, and they get focuses that boost fascist support. But yeah, they do actually
Okay.
eventually flip fascist, but not for a long time. And with the knowing the AI, they'll never do it. Like they'd fail to do it even if they were because they won't assign a demagogue most likely, and they need it to do it during the war anyways. Although there's no real benefit to flipping during the war. Like the main benefit of that flip is that after the war, in fact, fascist nations have a harder time bringing women into the workforce than democratic or communist nations. So flipping fascist during a war would actually usually hurt you for no reason. Like the main advantage of being fascist is being able to either mobilize your economy during peacetime or to declare wars very quickly. So unless you were
Yeah.
planning to like attack another country while you're already at war, um, because yeah, that's Atlanta, Georgia, or Birmingham, Alabama. Uh, oh goodness. Uh,
Why does Virginia have the southern tip of Maryland?
Virginia is the
Kind of
southern tip.
weird. You know
Uh,
the peninsula with Maryland and Delaware on it.
uh,
Weird that that's part of
Oh, the
Virginia.
Delmarva Peninsula. You're asking why Virginia has that? Oh, that's because Delaware doesn't
Yeah.
exist as a state. It's I guess too small. The devs didn't want to make it a state because they've decided to like one of the ways the U.S. is limited is they don't have enough build slots. And if Delaware was a state, then
Right.
you could do regional and industrial integration and get a build slot.
Yeah.
And they would
That's
probably
why
have to make it they would either have to make it like really less urbanized than Delaware is, because Delaware is a pretty urban state, or have it add a ton of build slots. They just merged it into Virginia for balance reasons, I think. That or just to make it easier to draw the states up. I don't know.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
I feel
So
like they should have just
Delaware,
given it to Maryland. That would have.
yeah, they could have, and it probably would make more sense since I assume Delaware would have sided with, would have remained loyal in a
Hmm.
that part in a I mean Pennsylvania did, and they're more culturally aligned with Pennsylvania than they are with Virginia or North Carolina. So which they
Hmm.
actually border both of on that little peninsula. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of small states over there.
Yep. Well, you have the whole Delmarva Peninsula, so Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. I'll show this little peninsula north of Norfolk, like
Yeah.
and yeah, it means that Delaware actually has a border with Virginia, which I didn't know. Like when you look at a map, because it's such a small
Oh,
area,
really?
it's yeah, there's like a little bit of the western part is Maryland, the eastern part is Delaware in the northern part, and then Virginia is the very southern part of this peninsula.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a bridge that goes across to Norfolk, which didn't exist in the World War II era, but it does now. It actually
Oh,
crosses
yeah.
right over the ocean. So
I wonder
I've
why.
what?
Hmm. I wonder why that is.
Why
That
there's a
that
bridge
it's
there?
that's Virginia. I feel like it would just fit better with Maryland.
Yeah, it probably would.
I feel like Delaware should just also be part of Maryland. I don't know why the states are so tiny over there.
I guess it's because Norfolk
Strange.
is the nearest urban area, and so that I think it has
Maybe
more
the
to
people
do with
there
like
are.
the way supply works and stuff. If they had to decide which to assign it to, like the way state control and supply works.
Maybe the
Be
people there are more culturally similar to Virginians than the rest of the peninsula, and
in
they
the
don't want.
southernmost part, there, yeah. But the thing about the peninsula is that economically it's tied more to Norfolk, even if culturally, I mean,
Oh yeah,
the northern part of Delaware is definitely northern, but the southern part is, yeah, this whole peninsula, the southern part, it's, I mean, the southern part of the peninsula is definitely culturally like very southern.
hmm.
Um, I've, 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 I've been there once.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're Southerners. They are not Yankees in any sense. Like,
really.
it's a very abrupt cultural shift, really. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
Maryland is all, but Maryland is actually pretty Southern too. But they like they don't, they're not similar to Delaware. Like north, oh, you go a little bit north in Philly, and it's a very northern culture. You go to like Baltimore, it's sort of northern, but you go down this peninsula, and it's like it looks and feels like the deep south almost. If not deep,
Is
but
it pretty rural?
it's pretty rural. Yeah, it's all farms and like
Mm. Okay.
cottages of people who just want to get away. And there's like
Yeah.
there's like a CIA facility there and an NSA facility that uh someone told me. I've never seen it, but that exists there just for the purposes of like, I guess, being really isolated. So it's somewhere
Oh
off the
yeah.
main roads. Like, someone told me this when I was driving through. I'm like, what? There's, why would they be down here? And they're like, oh, because it's really isolated. I guess so. It's for security
Okay.
purposes. It's easier to, if no one's supposed to, if no one has any real reason to go down there. Because if you're driving through, you're just sticking the main roads. You're not gonna like pull off into these little side streets. And I guess it's off one of those, like a
Oh
big CIA facility, supposedly, like one of their main. You know, it's close enough to DC. So, all
yeah.
right, I'm just gonna micro that because I see a division that might march in. I do not know why they're not. The general is not telling people to go. Oh, oh, the Battle of Little Rock. Okay, I'm like, what's gone there? Hold on. Annoying stuff with I don't know where the divisions that are assigned to this front are. Oh, they're all there. This is the part that doesn't make sense. Why is that front line over here now? Oh, they don't have a offensive order. Uh, I see. Well, I'm glad that your girlfriend liked Wildermyth a lot. You know, I kept trying to get you into that so we could do a
Yeah.
multiplayer. I'm glad that she's getting some mileage out of that game too.
I've been playing too. I'm on chapter 2, I think.
Oh, of the first of the Age of Ulstrix tutorial
Yeah.
campaign. It's basically a
Yeah.
tutorial campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a cool campaign. It's very scripted. I did that, and then I've just done generic campaigns since, because the generic campaigns, they're like less scripted, and so you're more free to just do whatever and build up
Yeah.
your like legacy, which I don't know. I got so into like just building these characters. I've done like because some of the story campaigns are supposedly really hard. Like the
Oh yeah.
Ulstrix is much easier than like some of the other story campaigns, and so I wanted to just build up
Uh,
some characters who've done a lot of like generic campaigns before I attempt one of those. I,
yeah.
I don't know. People who know, I don't like. Some people like punishing games, like hurt, like, you know, give me more, daddy, or whatever. Not that's not me.
Yeah.
Please, sir, may I have another? What's that? Yeah, from what's the movie where that's in? Animal House or whatever. Yeah,
Um.
because it's a frat boy and he's getting like hazed by being like spanked, literally spanked with
Oh
like a
yeah.
paddle, and he's saying, "Please, sir, may I have another?" After it's ridiculous, but and unfortunately, a lot of frats in America took that as inspiration to haze like that instead of, "This is ridiculous and this is making fun of the frats,"
Of
and
course.
calling them. kind of gay back in an era when homophobia meant that was an insult, before people realized
Yeah.
that's nasty to like make fun of someone just because their orientation. But yeah, I mean, well, people always sort of realize that, but you know what? There's no excuse for it for people. Like, although I grew up in a town where, yeah, but that's because the adults in the town were pricks and like didn't, not because, all right, pause again. I just got a lot of micro going on. I can't be everywhere, but I'm shift my attention to one part of the front, fix something, and then go to a different area and fix something. And it's like, you know, I'm playing damage control on the AI sucking mostly.
Yeah.
So, um, it is what it is. Uh, like, I mean, it might be unrealistic if this was a matter of seconds that pass, but these are whole hours that pass. So I think realistically a person could shift their attention so that I don't consider the pausing to be unfair. An AI can, of course, handle everything at once if it wants. Like, it doesn't have attention limits like a human being does.
Yeah.
Oh, let me
How do you
save.
support an attack again?
Yeah, hold on. I'm just saving because I haven't saved in
Oh,
a while
right
in
click.
case.
Okay.
Because I've been having issues with my computer sometimes crashing lately with some apps. I think it's a RAM usage issue. Not the computer crashing, but apps crashing. How do you? So yeah, you select a division that borders the battle. You control right click on the battle bubble, like the green thing
Oh,
or
okay.
red
So
thing
you
or
have to wait
orange
for the
thing.
battle to start.
Yes. And then the supporting
Ah,
attack can be called in after, and then they'll reinforce in like normal, but they won't leave the province after the battle's over. But of course, that means they can't step off when the battle starts, and so the other divisions will have to fight without their help for a little while. I see you're trying to take the jungle. It looks like I can see a bubble, even though I can't see how it's going or anything.
yeah. Might as
Uh,
well.
yeah, I guess it's good defensive terrain. Although you probably want to let's see. Probably want to Monterey and the other place so that they can't add naval dockyards unless if you take Monterey from them, they can't add naval dockyards in or not. No, sorry, that's San Luis is the
Matamoros?
one. No, Matamoros doesn't control Tamaulipas. They need San Luis to add naval dockyards, and they don't have
Hmm?
to have Monterey, but Monterey does.
Monterey's in the other state, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, you probably want it. Oh, yes, they can add infrastructure. That's why you want to leave them with Monterey. Monterey so that they can add infrastructure, and Tamaulipas so they can add dockyards. But
Oh,
you only need to leave them with Monterey and San Luis Potosi. You can take every single other province from them, and it won't cause an issue.
really?
So
They don't
yeah,
need a coastal province to build a dockyard?
used to be that they required a naval base, but now you can actually, as long as you control a coastal state, even if you don't control coastal province, you can build
Oh,
dockyards.
interesting. So they can
It,
build dockyards in San Luis
Yeah, it makes
Potosi.
some sense when you realize, well, first of all, San Luis is on a river, so there's actually a river that runs to the sea.
Yeah,
But it
that's
does
true.
make some sense when
That's
you consider that historically the components for ships weren't all made right there on the coast. They were often made in seas a little
yeah,
bit further inland and then
yeah.
shipped to the coast where they were assembled. The
I wish
Germans
more
in
Paradox
particular.
games had. I wish more Paradox games had navigable rivers like that.
Yeah.
I can only think of Imperator Rome, and that's with galleys. So I guess it makes the most sense for it.
I mean, there's some focuses that refer to brown water navies. I think
Yeah.
Brazil has one, for instance, so basically river ships, but it just like some nations the brown water navies just gives them like randomly like navy experience or
Oh yeah.
unlocks a navy MIO even though they can't build ships yet or something like that or give them tech boost. I think Hungary has something like that. The Czechs. It's I
Yeah.
think it may have been the Czechs. It's like let's see. Uh, no, that's not the Czechs. They have Sun Shipyard. It's something like sailing the Danube or something. It might have been
Oh yeah.
uh Sailing the Danube, yeah, it's a Hungarian. It gives them 50 convoys, which are necessary sometimes for river transport, so that makes sense, and allows them
Mm.
to assign a chief of the navy. Uh, so it's either stuff like that, or it's stuff like Brazil gets a expand brown water navy focus, I think, which gives their divisions like it might have been Paraguay, Uruguay, but I think it was Brazil. Some of those Latin American nations, and that gives them like just a national spirit that makes their divisions fight better across rivers to represent like river boats and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that I'm pausing again, by the way. Stuff like river ships, river boats are not represented well enough in this game, even though they were, would be considered very historically important if you were fighting in, say, Brazil or Vietnam or certain other areas that have lots of rivers. Uh,
Yeah.
why are they? Oh, this I haven't ordered this guy to attack anywhere yet. Weddinghall's division's plan. He's not a very good planner. Courtney Hodges, but he's an infantry officer. That's why he's assigned. 160th Freedom Division. Right. Uh, that was on pause. Some of my divisions didn't finish their training before the war. One of them was like green. Well, almost trained. Don't get to train just through. Oh, pure chaos. Every time I take a province, weird stuff will happen with redrawing the borders of the
Yeah.
front lines, or in this case, trying to move a division. I caught it just in time. Was going to leave a big gaping hole in my front line because
So are you pushing along the river to get to Dallas from the west? So you don't
hold
have to
on.
cross any rivers?
Uh,
Is that what that little, or is that just an encirclement around the panhandle? Or I guess that's not really a panhandle, but you know what I mean. The part next to the Oklahoma panhandle.
give me a sec, cause looks like these divisions aren't going anywhere yet. Redrawing a front line. What are they doing? Um, with Dallas, I'm pushing east of Dallas right now to secure the flank there so that I can attack into Dallas because I expect a fight from multiple directions. I've got
Yeah.
divisions northwest. They're still planning and they're going to start marching soon, probably on June 18th because I don't want to wait any much longer. Although I would like to give them some air support. In the fight northeast of Dallas, I'm actually losing it. So really, I'm just wearing down a division,
Mm.
and Patton
Yeah.
has gained some. There's this whole bridge battle going on. It's why is he doing so poorly? Because he's doing a river crossing. So yeah, Battle of Little Rock is still going on for another 4 days. All right, 4 days, and I've got full use of the combat width. Looks like.
So what does monthly growth in states for manpower mean? Like it says 280 recruitable and then 18.4 civilian. Like what does the civilian population growth affect?
Oh, if you're looking, there's two things: civilian and yeah, monthly growth is like yeah, that represents it's normally constant, but there are actually a few national spirits or folk or other like focuses that give an absolute amount or like for a while or give a higher
Like the
percent.
communist, the
Oh no,
what
no, I'm
was it
talking
called?
about the monthly growth, not of a state, not of the
Oh,
communist one. Just
not
gives direct
weekly
to your
manpower.
manpower pool. So Denmark can
Okay.
get a country leader who increases monthly growth, and if they go welfare instead of warfare, their monthly population growth can be higher. Sweden, I
All right.
think might. It's Sweden, Norway, and Iceland all have potential advisors, and I think Finland too. They can increase their monthly population growth a little bit It's only like 5%, so it's almost negligible. But these are like they're all of them like doctors or public health experts who they can assign. They have other benefits too, but this is like a secondary benefit of some of their advisors. Um, and I guess that's because the Nordics are so underpopulated that they need every person they can get. And since these people were historically important in World War II and they were either sociologists or public health experts, it made sense to add. Uh, but in terms of the direct effect, the monthly growth, obviously recruitable or people can then be recruited, and that's civilian can be shifted into recruitable population as you raise your conscription law, right?
Okay.
Because it looks at the total population of a state, and say you're at 10% recruitable population, then 10% of the total population of the state can be recruited into military. That would be at service by requirement or extensive conscription plus 5% from national spirits and doctrines, which you can easily get, like the mass
Okay.
assault alone, or one of the sub branches of mobile warfare can get you 5% from doctrine. So any nation can easily get to 10% at extensive conscription. And service by requirement isn't that punishing to run either. So 15 is easily, I mean, you can easily get to like 30 in the game. But anyways, if you're gonna go all adult
Yeah.
serve and uh anyway, sorry, I'm getting so the civilian population, besides being shiftable into recruitable, there's
Should
one
I
other.
save up for limited conscription, by the way?
You don't need it right now, especially with the worker
Oh,
militias, which will get you more recruitable population, you know?
oh yeah.
I mean, like
Oh, it will.
yeah, and there's combat with
2%.
like limits, so you're not gonna get much benefit by throwing a lot more bodies. The problem
Yeah,
often, the
that's true.
reason you're gonna need more people is so that you can like defend your whole coastline, and that's a lot of coast to defend. So you'll eventually need a much bigger army, but you're gonna want to like have enough industry to actually start like adding support companies and line artillery so that you don't lose as many men when you push into Central America. Quality over quantity kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
like the Nicaraguan divisions are better equipped than yours right now. They have line artillery in their divisions, even though they're like World War I line artillery. Um,
I need to get some artillery made. I only have
uh,
2 stockpiled.
yeah, but you need the rifles right now. Are you still sending those to the commune, the Spanish commune, to slow down the
Yep.
fascists? Good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a good way to
Although
get.
I'm out of rifles.
Oh, so you're waiting on more rifles to do another one?
Yeah.
Let's see
Probably
if I
buy
have.
some.
Shoot, I don't have any rifles available to sell. I was gonna say I sell some, but I literally don't have any rifles left. Uh, hmm. Let's sell fighters because they're just
I can buy some on the market.
yeah. There should be a lot of nations that are selling rifles. I
Oh
can't
yeah.
offer you discounted ones, so you're gonna have to pay more. But um, yeah.
What did I buy from someone within my faction?
Um, a really good one to well, yeah, I was gonna say a Central American country, but that could either get them an extra factory for a conqueror, or it could just give a partially done factory that disappears into the void, and which is actually much more likely. Yeah, maybe like who would you probably not want to bother conquering for a long time?
Argentina? Bolivia?
You eventually want to turn Argentina because they're going fascist. Uh,
Right.
Paraguay, right? Paraguay is going to be communist, so there's not even like an ideological reason to ever turn on them. I know they're not in your faction yet, but they might eventually be.
Oh,
So,
they are
Paraguay,
selling some guns.
yeah, I would say Paraguay. Um, if not Paraguay, then maybe yeah, Uruguay or Argentina, or Chile, because they're so far away. They're probably gonna be the last places you conquer. That gives the most time for the surplus they use to actually translate to extra development. Hopefully, um, yeah.
All
But
right.
yeah, you gotta just keep making rifles. It's frustrating, but if
Yeah.
you're changing around what your production lines
I
do
gotta
all
get
the
more
time,
factories.
what?
I gotta get more factories.
Yeah, and you need sieve factories because you're gonna need sieve for more than just building mill. You also need them for like coastal forts and you're gonna need some coastal forts because you have a lot of coastline to defend, and it's gonna be really hard to like have enough men to both defend your coastline and to like go on the offensive eventually.
Yeah.
So you're probably gonna eventually want coastal forts. You're gonna want anti-air guns. You're gonna want like you know um, radar installations for when you're trying to contest the Caribbean, because that'll add to naval detection. You need a lot of things. So you might even need to add a supply hub or upgrade a naval base or two. There's just so many things you need to build beyond just military factories. So you actually need to keep doing civ for a while before you start building mil, because you also need to import resources, which costs civ, obviously, because you don't have like hardly any steel production in Mexico.
Yeah.
You do get a little bit via focus, but it's not much. All right, I'm pause for another day here, and then I'm gonna step off some more attacks, which is gonna keep me even more busy here, because this is going a little slower than I would like. Oh, I'm done with fighting in Appalachia. Shoot. Oh, this fighting is actually in a different air zone. Pretty sure the Confederates have finished marching in the east. Alright, I'm gonna do some stuff with aircraft too. Hold on. I need to get looks like a bunch of people to the airbase in Oklahoma. This is gonna have terrible mission efficiency. This is why I'm not bothering with. I'm teching stuff to upgrade my air MIOs for the future, but I'm not actually building really any aircraft because it's just not cost effective at current tech levels. Still trying to figure out what to do next. Is your girlfriend slaying a dragon?
I think so.
She's either fighting the Thrixol, who have a poison spewing dragon, or she must be doing one of the Drauven campaigns where I think they get a proper dragon, because they don't get it in.
What dragon are you fighting?
The dragon is I'm not fighting him yet. He invited me to a ball.
What kind of dragon is he? What is he?
I don't know yet. I haven't met him yet.
Oh, she's doing the Omen Road DLC. Okay,
Oh,
that.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, that's not part. That's part of the DLC. I don't own that one, but I do recognize that Dragon invites you to the ball, and I don't own the DLC because I don't have the money. But yeah, that DLC. I'm not sure what I'm gonna need to tech next. I should do something, but I don't want to. Sorry, I'm about to finish a tech. I just realized I don't have any idea what to. Uh. I guess Engineer Company 2. I'm going to need dozer blades eventually. And yeah. Alright. So she must have just finished a campaign and be starting a new one, I guess.
Yeah, she was asking me to get Omen Road for her.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's cool.
A lot.
I'm going to buy it at some point when it goes on sale.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a ton of money, and I am doing a Let's Play series on it, but it's not doing that well. Like, I don't know. Some people like watching it, but Wildermyth doesn't have a huge player base. It's an underappreciated classic, if you ask me. It's a really cool game. I love it, but not everyone, unfortunately, loves it as much as I do. I guess so. Why are these guys pushing into? What state is that? Georgia? Alabama. Sorry, I got a division that for some random reason has decided to attack, and I have no idea what they're up to. Like, what?
They want to take the river.
Yeah, I don't want them
I
taking
don't
the
know.
river. I want to defend along that river so that I can hold this area with like not have to worry about it easily and
So
take
isn't
fewer
taking the river good?
losses. If you cross so the river provides defensive bonuses to whoever's defending across it. I
Yeah.
don't want them crossing the river
Oh,
because I
they.
want to just dig in and use the river to defend on my side of the river. So
I see. Don't they have a little bit of your side though?
have
Yeah,
I'm
like
talking about dear Alabama. Oh, that one
that.
I'm about to
Yeah,
take
that
it.
one hills province.
Yeah, I got troops marching in there and they don't have anything defending.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm
I
gonna
thought
take
that's.
it any second
Ooh,
now. Although
I
stupid
thought that's where they
AI.
were marching.
Speaking of marching, good thing you point out. The AI has decided to march there and leaving absolutely no one behind to defend. This is starting
Oh,
to get on my nerves a little bit,
yeah,
to say the least.
yeah, yeah. That's what happened to me.
Like they're being
I
overly
don't know why they
aggressive.
do it.
Well, it's because I set them to aggressive execution of the battle plans. I'm gonna have to switch them to a
Uh,
balanced manner. This is not like they're not pulling. No, what you were experiencing is divisions were just leaving the front line for no reason. You know?
yeah. I did have them advance and then just leave open space behind them.
Yeah, that can happen just
Once or
because they're
twice.
being overly aggressive. And in this case, there is a
Yeah.
division that was filling behind him, but it wasn't going to arrive for a day. And for just a day, there was going to be no one defending, which, I
Mm.
mean, is sort of all right. But I don't, that, it's not on the battle arrow, so I don't even know why they're crossing the river there. And, all right, as told another general to attack. So, and the weather's
I'm,
just turned to mud. That's all in, nope, mud everywhere. That's gonna hold up. Jeez, I decided to tell the people to attack towards Dallas, and as if the weather itself was smiting me, God itself was smiting me. Suddenly, the weather has turned into mud in Dallas.
yeah.
Like
Oh
north
boy.
of Dallas, they have to march through the mud. There's no one defending, so it's like okay, they're gonna suffer some attrition and they're gonna move a little slower.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't need all three of these marching in though. Let's at least shoot. No, they actually need to take that because that area is gonna not even be on the front lines. So they all need to march in. Shoot. All right. I'm turning all the generals to be less aggressive because they're leaving too many gaps, and I'm trying to be a little bit cautious. Cautious is too cautious, like the cautious setting, but um, yeah, this weather sucks. It's turned muddy everywhere, everywhere, and there's storms, which also slow movement. I think there's storms, there's mud, it's hot. Supply efficiency may not actually affect movement speed for ground troops, but yeah. And I have to convert the railroads? That's because it's non-core. Even though it's not like the Confederates had time to change the railroad gauge, but I actually have to convert the railroads behind me. I mean,
You have to convert railroads.
well, yeah, if you're pushing into another country, it makes sense because their railroad system might use a different gauge or something, but it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense in the Confederacy because
For a
they are
civil
literally,
war, the same country.
yeah, everyone's using the standard US gauge. It makes no sense in this case. There
Yeah.
are times where it makes sense. This is not one of them. So, oh well. Um, they decided to defend this area. I guess Hodges is going to get some combat experience in this. Cool. Sorry, I'm just keeping an eye on the front because I've just ordered my. I have one general who's having his divisions plan and finish training, and one who's just defending the eastern seaboard against naval invasions. So, but I just ordered the third general to start attacking. So now I'm attacking almost everywhere I'm going to attack.
Yeah.
I'm actually pushing down the east coast last because it's going to be the terrain involves. It's like cross a river, fight through a forest, fight through a mountain. It's really the terrain is not helpful there at all. So Da, da, da. Hold on. No, I don't want to purchase stuff from the neutral block. Costs political power. It's dumb. There we go. Sorry, I was getting a pop-up. I just finished a tech and I still don't know what I'm... Oh wait, it is June 39. I'll just save up to get construction 4 ahead of time. That's what I'll do. Oh, this is a 41 tech, not a 40 tech. Darn it. No, I won't. I'll get improved computing machine. That's a 40 tech. All right. I'll need it for ballistic computers. Anyhow. Oh yeah, Joe, you're doing like the computing, electronic, mechanical engineering type like techs, right?
Computing machine, yeah.
Yeah, so that leads down the line to computing machine leads to improved computing machine leads to advanced fire control systems, which are the most cost-effective fire control systems and like are worth putting on like because they give bonuses to like the basic fire control system sucks and provides almost nothing, but this gives a 10% chance to like battery hit and a 20% anti-air. So it's worth putting on like, your cruisers even because of the anti-air bonus. Because then you don't have to give them as many anti-air guns. If they're screening light cruisers, you only need 5 anti-air to make sure that they don't get targeted. Like the benefits of anti-air drop off steeply after 5. You want way more in capital ships, but like light cruisers can get away with just having like 5 or even a little under. Like the light cruisers I've been building, they only have 4.4 anti-air, and the stories I'm building have 4.9 and 3.5 for my convoy escort ones that I don't expect to even get hit by aircraft very often. Anyways, yeah, on pause. Just a tech completion. Huh. I'm not getting any more Lend-Lease from anyone except the French and Soviets. I would have sworn the British did it when I fast forwarded before, but not this time. I guess the British have decided, screw off, buddy. Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm focusing on the Southwest because I do want to take Texas for the oil to deny the Confederacy it,
Oh yeah.
I don't want them to be too industrial powerful. Otherwise, they'll raise divisions like crazy because they have American industry, like the huge amount of factories. I mean, they don't have nearly as many as I do, but they still have like 60 factories. And even though most of those are civ, that will eventually translate to building more mill. Because again, I don't want them to raise. I think I said this off camera. I don't want them to raise a ton of divisions, and then that's manpower I'll never be able to, like, when the Civil War ends, that manpower I guess they all go to prison or something. Like it never gets used.
Yeah.
So.
But you get the manpower back when you capitulate them.
Nope. Never get it back. That's manpower that's gone forever.
Oh, I mean manpower that's in their pool? Or I don't know how that works.
I mean, if it's in the
state,
pool, then
right?
it's actually assigned to a state. Like you'll notice when you lose if you
see.
lose a state, that pool will go down. I mean, there's
Okay.
manpower in the pool that came from like either events or national spirits that's not always assigned to a state, but like usually it's corresponds to a state, and like that stuff that's in their pool, I'll get back. But if it's actually raised into a division, I won't get that manpower back. Those guys, I guess they all go to like prison for like actually taking up arms or something against the Union. So I don't ever have the option of bringing those people into my military. Unlike the unlike the
Wait, there's a whole
oop, why are they no, they can stay put. All right. accidentally selected all divisions on a front line and sent them somewhere. Battle plan with no units assigned. Where? Huh? Oh, I just took a. I see. I just took a state and it just divided up the front line and around what's theoretically a pocket. Well, not really. Give me a second. Right, that area is undefended. Will the guy just march into it already? That's muddy, so I guess I don't mind if he waits. In fact, I'm gonna bypass the area entirely because of the mud. All right, sorry, I'm just stuff in Texas, which actually I've gotten areas I needed to. I wanted to get that river line. If you look at the southwest part of Texas, there's all that mountainous area with a river. So obviously defending
Yeah.
mountains with a river is, well, easy. It's really great defensive terrain. And I wanted to gain control of that. Also, there's a supply hub down there. So that the
I'm lacking
Confederates, I don't.
supply in the pocket that I've taken that's bordering Texas.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know how to get more supply there.
Pocket
Do I
that's
need to
bordering
take-
Texas? What?
Well, not a pocket, but you know, like Piedras.
Oh.
Piedras Negras, that part.
Yeah, because it's far from a hub.
They're a bit low.
Yeah, if
The
you
problem
take that state that's northeast of your supply hub in Durango, the desert, then supplies can be transported across. Because right now the province, it's 3 provinces in the supply hub, and that'll reduce it to, or 1, 2, 3, and that'll reduce it to 1, 2. Oh no, well actually it's the same number of provinces, but I think it's quicker. I mean, like the calculated distance might be. No. But there's no, actually, that's not gonna make a difference. But taking that desert will give you a little bit more of the local supply. Taking Reynosa will also help because it provides a little local supply. But
yeah.
mainly, you don't have a choice. That's why you want to like crush that pocket so that you don't have to station divisions there because there's no way to get good supply there. Like you can get
This left pocket, you want me to destroy?
the part in the north. Yeah, that I mean, did you take that jungle? I noticed there's no more combat bubble there.
Yeah, he's moving in.
Oh, yeah. Once you got divisions and they're like like they've moved in, and assuming there's no counterattacks, yeah, Reynosa will give you a little local supply, and Matamoros. So I would grab Reynosa and Matamoros for the local supply, and then I would crush the pocket in the northwest and just leave San Luis and Monterey encircled.
All right.
Yeah, just bypass those 2 main points. It even makes sense from a perspective of like those being the most heavily defended cities, so you just bypass them and take the countryside first. And you know, once you crush the enemy pocket east of Chihuahua, like you can destroy those 5 divisions, and then you won't have to worry about them anymore. You won't need divisions stationed to keep them encircled. So
Yeah.
it'll let you concentrate more men around San Luis and Monterey in preparation for the final advance eventually. So.
Yay!
Okay. Should I start
Yeah.
fighting them now?
Start. Whating?
Yeah. Should I start some battles now?
Should you start some battles now?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna
They're
actually
fairly
do
low
it.
strength from being so far from the capital.
Well,
for so
I think
long.
those are Agarista around that pocket. Oh, do you
Yeah.
have a proper division in Pedras Negras?
I do. Yep. I have several.
But I have a division. I can see that they have 5 defensive divisions. 5 there. Dug in the mountains, so I don't think you can win that fight.
Okay.
Because
Should
you
I kill
have
the other provinces then? Just the desert provinces?
Well, I would, yeah, if there's something that's not well defended, Yeah, you could take it, but I was gonna say the desert is really muddy right now, so I would instead of that I would focus on taking Reynosa and Matamoros. Oh, it's Medi
Okay,
and
but
Reynosa. So I would try and grab Matamoros next because there's no mud there, and then hopefully the mud in Reynosa will have dried up by that point. Because mud is brutal to attack into, and it's hard even just to march into without combat. So
okay.
I would I would take Matamoros, then Reynosa, if and then try and like deal with the pocket east of Chihuahua, hopefully, because it's all muddy right now. If you try to attack entrenched enemy divisions in the mountains while there's mud and it's raining to boot, you're outnumbered 5-1. You're gonna lose. There's not even a question. I don't care how good that division is. It's not going to be able to do it, especially without like air support or anything. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, this guy's well. All right. I'm sorry. I'm doing a little. I'm gonna shuffle around some front line here. The red arrow and golden cross. That's what I thought. Oh no. I want to use strategic redeploy. So where are they even assigned? So sorry. I'm just now that I've secured that little defensive line I was talking about, and I'm bringing some divisions to push into more of Texas and just have the overwhelming numbers that I need to
Yeah.
do this without hopefully suffering too much in the way of losses. Um, cool. Uh, you know what? I'll make this one giant front. Pick a division, any division to.
Wait, I can literally open the div.
Sorry, it's hard to. Some of these divisions. One of the problems when you have some divisions are really under-equipped like this
I do.
is that you don't know like which ones are actually going to be combat effective.
Trying to attack her.
Like you have a division and it looks like, oh, it's a regular division, it's full org, but it has like 2 rifles between all the men, So it's
Yeah.
not actually that. So I have to keep sorting them by organization to figure out which ones I should use on offensively and which are only like they're good for holding a position still because it's much harder to attack than defend, but not good for actually attacking anywhere. What the hell is going on with Dallas?
Like that one movie. What is it? Enemy at the Gates?
Oh, the
With the
Soviet human
yeah.
wave nonsense. What?
Yeah, where they're like where they act like the Soviet Union just gave like 2 people like one gun and a clip to share.
Yeah, which is not based on historical fact in any way.
But
Uh,
that's what you're doing. Pretty much.
yeah, that is actually what I'm doing essentially.
Pretty much.
Uh, pretty much. I've got, 10,000 guys, and some divisions there's like as few as like 200 rifles or 200
Yeah.
infantry equipment, which is I guess,
Oof.
or no, because yeah, because it'd be 1,000, so that'd be like 2,000 rifles for 10,000 men is what that would be the equivalent of. So yeah,
Yeah.
and some
So
of them are
they're
old
just
world.
standing around.
I could have just raised fewer divisions or smaller ones, but I did have a lot of artillery, and I have been producing some artillery, even
Yeah.
though it would have been like more cost effective to produce the rifles. Part of the reason for the artillery though is because artillery produces I produce now will still be effective like in 1945. Like even old World War I artillery, just having higher artillery fraction is going to help you. But of course, like rifles they produce now are not gonna, you replace rifles as soon as they become obsolete usually because it's so cost
Yeah.
effective to make. Plus, I want to grow my artillery MIO. But mostly it's because it's a long-term investment rather than like not producing any artillery now and then having to ramp artillery production way further up in the future. Instead, just keep a couple factories on it and build a stockpile at like high efficiency is the idea. Because they're only halfway to their efficiency cap on artillery production. Speaking of which, support equipment. Yeah, so right now I've just got everything into all my new factories are going to go into rifles and then support equipment. But I am producing a little artillery. Sorry, I wasn't clear. So every division's got support artillery, which get the most soft attack per artillery piece. Or almost all. I have some engineer only brigades that don't have, but I have like support artillery, and so having lots of, even though I don't have enough rifles to go around, most divisions are fully equipped with artillery. So that's one of the reasons I have so many under-equipped divisions.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
because I didn't want to spend the army XP to like add line artillery and have a smaller number of better equipped divisions instead, because I'm using the army XP to get doctrines. So. Plus, eventually, I get Lend-Lease, and eventually I have the equipment. And in the meantime, I'm getting Lend-Lease of rifles. Like the French are sending me some old World War I rifles because of this. So, you know, they're sending me enough to equip a little more than one division, 13,000 or 1,378 infantry equipment, which is enough to equip 13,780 men. So a little more than one division. One of my National Guard divisions is 12,000 men, or 12,600 actually. So it's just enough to equip a division. And yeah, the Soviets are sending me artillery. Why are they sending me artillery? I have a little bit of a shortfall of artillery. 375 pieces shortage, but part of that is just to upgrade. I think most divisions that have artillery have like either 10 of 12 or 11 of 12 pieces, so they're pretty close to fully equipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if a division has support companies, I'll pause it while this is gone. They have higher org. If they have more infantry battalions, so instead of having if I had the army XP to create an ideal template, which I could have done if I had done overwhelming firepower before going to quick improvisation. But part of it is I'm trying to get command power to strengthen my navy to hire admirals later. Keyword later, because right now I'm actually putting it into promotions for my generals. But there will come a point when I instead go for no, he's good. Hodges.
So I thought that probably give up, but you could. You're a duty, correct? You would never have found where I felt that before I started to. Taking the sense of gone where exactly? Actually, sent. I read that wrong. Oh, Lila, it's Elfair.
Sorry, just giving Omar Bradley offensive doctrine. That'll help with the next push. But yeah, I'm going to start spending command power on admiral traits and then recruiting new admirals very soon. So yeah, I made some mistakes though. There's this really nice arming spirit called I can't do it anymore, but it's called overwhelming firepower. And since I started in some spirit firepower, I could have run it for a while, made a bunch of like templates, and then switched out of it and done the new templates very cheaply because it makes it cheaper to add artillery or infantry to your divisions or remove it. Yeah, so like an ideal thing would have been oh, by the way, what program is your girlfriend using to stream? You mentioned she's streaming.
Discord, just to a friend.
Oh, Oh, I was gonna say like OBS if she was putting it on YouTube or something. OBS is, well, surprisingly good. I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm using. I was using a different. I was using Windows Game Bar thing, and it was having issues with not sizing the screen correctly and such. So now
Oh yeah.
yeah. So now I'm using OBS.
Leave your worries in the actions, or cling to them that come. Doubt might let you feel some control.
Yeah, she was having some problems with it in full screen. She had to put it in windowed for the stream to work properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like acting like a slideshow.
Ooh.
Like it would take a few seconds and it would just jump forward a few seconds at a time and then freeze it. Yeah.
Why aren't these guys advancing? Organization is too low to advance?
Not real.
You're at full org. What the hell?
Elthar does, but that's.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't have a point.
Guess that's what comes from. I mean,
Fine. Confident.
I guess.
Don't believe me then. Just say you sense every fiber of me, whether I'm ghost or woman or whatever. If she's the one dangerous.
No, they're marching into Dallas, so I need to get troops there because they're actually falling back into Dallas. I just took the state north of it.
This capture of yours, this spider, this weaver of is and
Oh, there's guys marching in. They'll get there not too long either. There.
I asked because Dunover was locked in a house in my life. Sorcerer trapped him there, aided by her husband and my co-team.
All right. Yeah, I need the reinforcements.
Bright, shining Sugan, good, clean Sugan. That was her sacrifice.
All right, sorry, just doing a little micro. But yeah, so I could have done that division templates, but I would have had to do a lot of it off camera because it's a pain in the rear and it takes forever to figure out the templates. Like I would not have done this on a stream. So there's that first of all. In my single player campaign, I can obviously stop, do things any day, and pause anytime. And so nice. I just took Little Rock and got more volunteers, more extra. Where is it? Because that's a capital of Arkansas, at least in the game. I forget if it is in real life.
So I had my own question. We shall have to put our reunion aside.
Why are they not? Oh, because they were doing a supporting attack before.
Game later rates now.
Sorry, I just took another province and just got another front line that decided to redraw itself. So.
Not from this one, gnarled fist. This one? Ooh, someone else? Someone extremely out. I like her, but I don't like her. Who the fuck is this? Altair! From a bank of rolling dust marches the smallish man. Why he? Hey. Oh, he's got shit! With each shaky step jerking a wagon in his brake.
Where are the divisions? Hold on. There's a division I can't find. One. Oh, he's all the way over there? Okay.
Does glad and good to see me? And why ever it not, I wonder. There are no depths on my side. Coughing or laughing?
Give me a sec, because I'm just.
I know
The AI is not doing what I want with front lines. I'm having to redraw some stuff, and
One's in love with you, just say you're not their friend. Like if them, I say. So, while I've not asked you their names, certainly recommend.
I don't really want you. Oh, okay.